Okay, good morning, friends. Shalom Aleichem. Bruchim Habam. We are continuing in Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Ayin Daled Seif Gimel. So we're dealing with the issue of Liboy Roya Es Ervah. One cannot be in a situation where their heart sees their Ervah. And the question is, we learned in Sif Beis that to cover your heart or below your heart with your hand is not considered a kisoy. The reason is because ein guf mechase guf. But now we're going to learn that if you hug yourself, that's different. Says the mechaber, if a person hugs their body with their arm, we consider it like a interposition, a hefsek. Says Mishna Berura Kavsaka Peirosh, Imoi made b'mayim tsululam. If a person is in clear water, v'liboy gamkein teichamayim, v'tzarch lahafsek bein liboy le'ervasai, dai bazel lahafsek. Hugging yourself is sufficient. Afagav de kisoy ba'alma b'yad mavar b'sif beis loy mahani. Even though covering your hand, merely covering your heart with your hand, we explained in Seif Beis that it doesn't work. Zeh adiv tvei. This is much better. Why? V'atam kivan she'ein darkon she'madam l'chabik atzum kach. People don't usually hug themselves this way. This is not a typical way for a person, in a typical position. V'hu oisakain. If someone does it, mikri hafsaka, it's considered an interposition aftehu chad guf, even though it's one body. And so the achronim conclude. Maharam tivalo uprichadash machmir mezah. Not like the Maharam tivalo and the prichadash who are machmir. Ukshu hoylech bechalok beloy michnasayim. If someone is going with a robe without pants, v'hu madbik biyadav al chalukay al alev omitachas libay kedei lahazvan liv le'erva gam le'detu shari. Everyone would agree. You're wearing a robe, you're wearing a long shirt, and you push your hand on the shirt by the heart or under the heart. Even the prichadash who says hugging yourself is not a hefsek, this would be considered a hefsek. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the din of libay raya es ha'erva for women. What would the difference be? Based on the physiology and the biology of a man as opposed to a woman, there might be a difference. Because a man, the heart and the erva are right opposite each other. But the way the erva of a woman is situated, so it's not a congruent, it's not congruous, with the leiv and the erva are not congruous. So maybe the din of libay rois erva does not apply to women. Siv Daled, yesh misha omer. There is an opinion. Who is this? The Orchos Chaim. The Orchos Chaim. I happen to have the Chida's personal Orchos Chaim of Lunel. He says like this: yesh misha omer. Shanoshim yichos levarach l'spag shein levushos hachalak afal pi she'enon mafsikois lemata mehalev. Some say a woman who's wearing a long robe, she could daven, and there's no issue that libay rois ha'erva. Says the Rama, Hagavim hin arumais. Now what if the woman is unclothed? So now there's an issue here. Because maybe there's no issue of libay rois ha'erva, and maybe even there's no issue that she could see her own erva because of the way, the physiology of the woman. But there's an issue of giloy erva. So it says Rama, tzarch erva shalahen tuchos b'karka. She would have to sort of stick the erva on the ground, or sit on something. Da'az ein liban roya erva shalahen, because then her heart will not see her erva masha'ein kein be'ish. So it sounds like this would take care of. This is needed not only to take care of the issue of giloy erva, and not only the issue of she sees the erva, but even libay raya es erva is somewhat a problem if she's aram. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Yechoyloi slavarich hatam the ervasan lamatam oid. The erva of a woman is much lower down. Ve'in halev shelo yachal aroisa, and her heart doesn't see it. What about someone who's a man who's very fat, and his belly is mafsik between libay and the erva? We say loy plug. It's still a problem. Mikal makam, says Mishna Berura. If a woman is unclothed, there's another problem. Dahainu isser giloy erva. Her erva is uncovered. Lo mitzad halev. Not because her heart sees it. Ela mitzad shenamar lo yira v'cha ervas davar. Your erva is not allowed to be seen when you say Dvarim Shebekdusha. Now we had, the Bir Halacha says that Giloy erva is a daraisa, va'asur levarach ala tzricha sheteheyoy shaves. She would have to sit, k'may shekasa Rama al zeh. That's very interesting. The Mishna Berura is reading the Rama the way I did originally, and I switched. If you remember, when I started reading the Rama, I was saying that a woman who's totally unclothed, she would have to sit on the floor. I was saying to take care of Giloy erva, but I switched that because the end of the Rama says, Oz ein liban roya erva shalohen. So the lashon of the Rama is saying she would have to sit on the floor to take care of libay roya erva. But the Mishna Berura, and I didn't read it originally because I thought this was going in the Shita that there's no issue of libay roya and esar erva by a woman. And furthermore, there's a more basic problem. But the Mishna Berura is reading it the way I did originally, that she would have to sit on the ground. Why? To take care of the problem of lo yer b'charvas davar. Shal yidei yeshivasa, because by sitting paneha shalamata mechusim, her erva below is covered. Ve'ein erva saneris, and her erva is not seen. So Mishna Berura is bothered. So why does the Rama say in order to take care of the problem of libay rasa erva? Umash because the Rama da'az ein liban raya erva shlen, who lav davka liban. The Mishna Berura, the Rama is lav dafka. The liban belav hachein raya erva, because we're in the shita that your heart can't see your erva. Ela shaloi tehei begiloy erva legamri ka'amar. V'ta soiferhu. Wow, it's a ta soifer. V'tzarch lemer va'az einoi nira erva shalahen. So we read it right. Baruch Hashem. It happens. Okay? Mei halev. Now, the Mechaber said, a woman who's wearing a robe, it's permitted for her to daven according to some, even though there's no hefsek between the leiv and the erva. Mei halev. V'habach choylek. The Bach argues, Usrile degam be'isha be'inan hafsaka bein leiv le'erva. Afilu k'sheish shal malbush. The Bach holds even if she's wearing a robe, you have to have a hefsek between her heart and the erva. Avol shara achroinim eskimel b'sak ha'shulchan aruch. Other achroinim agree to the b'sak of the shulchan aruch. Va'ayin b'yardea Siman reish demaske hataz v'hashach sham. The taz and the shach conclude over there. By the way, if you want to come visit the shach, you could come join us on our upcoming trip. We're going to be visiting the shach on Lag BaOmer. The lefima shapasag Shulchan Aruch pai, that according to the psak of the Shulchan Aruch, the ein shayach beisha liba royes however, according to the psak of the Shulchan Aruch, that it's not shayach by a woman liba royes however. Muteres levarech birchas This is a very interesting halacha. The Mechaber paskins that there's no problem of libay royes however by a woman. Accordingly, how does a woman make a bracha on tevilah? When a woman goes to the mikveh, how does she make a bracha? So you say, well, doesn't she have a more basic issue? What about the issue of giloy erva? The answer is she's in the water. Water is a covering for a giloy erva. We had that before. So now, and there's no problem of libay royas erva. What about the problem of she sees the erva? Yesterday we had, she could look away. So it says in Mishna Berura, Muteres levarach berchas v'gshiurim yezuzay chamayim, avshi adayin aruma, demishum giloy erva ein bazeh, dehamayim nafsham k'may kisoy. Now, what would a man do? Could a man make a bracha in the mikveh? There's no giloy erva. He's not looking at the erva. What about a man? So we saw yesterday in the Ramah, if he puts his heart over the water, that's good according to the Rama. V'yoyser toiv sheyeh liba lamala min hamayim. Better for the woman to put her heart over the water. Dezer shari af beish, k'may Rama b'hagos beis. Right? A man could technically make a bracha by using the water as a hefsek between liba and erva. V'yoyser tekei uchmaja oisha techabek zroy yosel hafsek ben liba erva, or give herself a bear hug. V'chein pasuk hachach mas adam. V'adim in oicheres beragleha. Or she could just sully the water, so that her limbs are not seen. What if she's not the only lady in the water? If there are other women, if there are other women who are unclothed standing in the Beis HaTfilah, she would have to turn her head and her body. Meaning, let's say she's in the water and there are women sort of outside of the water, unclothed. She would have to turn her body, her face and her body. By the way, just to remember, if you're on the train and there's a woman who's undressed, unclothed properly in front of you, it doesn't help just to turn your head away. You have to turn the body away also. Or you're in a public area, you're in an airport in the summer, and you want to say an Asher Yatzar. Doesn't help just to close your eyes. You got to be physically turned away. Even if you're going to say, well, she's in the water, so she's in a different rishus than the women who are unclothed in the preparation area. It's still a problem. She would have to turn her body and head away. So what does she do? She puts the erva, so to speak, in the ground. It says in Mishna Berura, right? Attached to and covered in the ground. A man can't put his erva on the ground, because his biology does not allow that. Yeah? Ve'ein b'magen Avram l'kaman siman reish vav dedaitoi de'af im ha'agavois nirin ein lahakbid. Now we're going to the new shaila. The shaila is agvos. Agvos is an erva, or agvos is not erva. The buttocks, are they an erva or are they not an erva? So here we're telling the woman that there's no issue of giloy erva because she's being meitiach ervasai ba'aretz. Well, what about her backside? Her backside is uncovered. No, that's not considered halachic erva. The agavos ein b'hem misham erva. Chen mashuk tzas ber agvav. El Yerabah pasuk agavos yesh b'hem misham erva. The El Yerabah says not like this. The agvos does have a din of erva. What about the sides of the agvos? The Chazon Ish says they are also an erva according to this El Yerabah, and the El Yerabah himself says they're not. So in other words, the El Yerabah himself is only makbid on the agvos mamish. The Chazon Ish is machmer even on tzidei agvos. By the way, the Mishna Berura doesn't paskin. Lamaisa, is agvos an erva or is agvos not an erva? In Siman Reish Vav, he paskins lechatchila agvos is an erva, which is very interesting because that would mean if somebody's in a mikvah and they need to say something, and for whatever reason they're covered, the guy in front of them is changing. So you say, well, his back is to me, so it's not an issue. But lechatchila, the Mishna Berura paskins agvos is an erva. Okay, very interesting. Siman Reish Vav, Sivkatan Tes Vav, the Mishna Berura paskins Agvas is an Ervah. Okay, with your permission, we're going to try to do get together tomorrow. Okay. So right now we're on schedule, and this way you will sort of try to get ahead for Pesach. Okay, Hatzlacha Rabbah.